So Pokemon Horizons episode 99 has just aired, and damn, this was a crazy emotional episode where we see Liko, Roy, Dot and Alt return to Galar. They meet up with Kana, who was the Pokeball lady who has the factory that creates all the Pokeballs, and I thought it was super cool that Orla was working with her in her spare time since the time skip and since Freed went missing. And this episode was just super emotional, so I really had to just dive into this. It's been a while since I've spoken about Pokemon Horizons, but this arc has been slightly slower for me. I feel like it's been quite repetitive, a lot of wacky character of the days just showing up. A lot of rushed moments, I think. Rayquaza returning and Terapagos coming out of its Pokeball quite quickly. But this episode was exactly what I wanted from this time skip. We see the emotional damage that big dramatic event of Freed disappearing or dying maybe. We see what sort of harm it caused to the adults, because obviously these adults knew Freed for longer. The likes of Molly, Murdoch and Orla knew him for so long, and we can see the impact that it has had on Orla. Even a year later, she's still thinking about when Freed first came and asked her to build the Brave Asagi. But it was a really cool dynamic with Orla working for Kana, and Kana even mentions that she's got this really urgent request to design some exterior objects, and straight away I kind of sussed that it would be the strong spheres that the explorers have been using for the Requiem, and they would unknowingly be helping the explorers. But this episode just hit hard because Orla is in this weird state where she hasn't really gotten over Freed going missing. She's just kind of buried herself in her work, and she doesn't really want to accept the fact that Freed is gone and that her adventure is potentially over, or the fact that she secretly wants to go on another adventure with the Rising Voltacklers once again. And the way that they spoke about Freed in this episode was pretty damning and pretty sad, to be honest, because it made it feel like Freed is actually dead. I don't know, I feel like he will come back, and they're kind of teasing us with he's gone, but I don't think he will be. I think it will be a massive moment when he eventually does come back. But Orla just screams and she's like, he's gone, he's not coming back, and this is over, this is all pointless. But she's secretly been maintaining the Brave Asagi and keeping it ready to fly again, so she obviously deep down wants to once again go out on it. And Liko has this whole thing like, Freed isn't gone, he's here with us. We're doing exactly what Freed would do if he was in this situation, which I think even more hints at him actually being gone. I thought they would say, like, he's not gone, we're going to keep searching, we're going to go out again, take down the explorers, and maybe we'll find clues about Freed. It's just such a weird situation, and I feel like they don't want to give anything away regarding what actually happened to him. I feel like if he was just dead, it would be more confirmed and more set in stone. And we also got a cool little parallel with Roy and Freed, where Orla was picturing Freed and Roy when they're both asked for the ship, which is just another sign that Roy has taken over that mantle as Freed. But for me, this episode was just really sad, especially when Captain Pikachu runs back onto the ship and we see it standing atop its chair, just like the old times. It really reminds me of like when Horizons first started airing, and we got all these new characters and all these cool roles that these characters play. And I feel like we haven't had that in such a long time. Even in like the last few arcs, even when we were still getting it, we weren't really getting it, because we had the terrestrial training, which was a great arc, but we barely saw any of these characters, we barely saw any of the ship. And then the fourth arc, we didn't see as much of the side characters. We got some episodes here and there, but just not as much as the first two arcs. So I think this episode just personally hit really hard. It made me miss them early days of Horizons. Although we're only 99 episodes in, you know, we're still not that far. It still has a long way to go. But yeah, I really miss the Rising Voltacklers. I miss Freed already, and I want the gang to be back together. I think eventually we'll get there. It might be a new look. It might be some members don't fully join. But it was nice one by one seeing Molly, Murdoch and Orla. All three of them episodes were the best episodes in the arc, non-surprisingly. The Requiem stuff has probably been the least exciting stuff in these arcs. It seems to be just character of the day shenanigans. But when we get these real emotional, character-driven episodes with the adults of the crew, it really does hit home. But this is exactly what I was hoping for, and I think Orla was probably the perfect person to show this emotion. Molly, it makes sense that she didn't. I did think we'd get a bit more from Murdoch. He just seemed like his old chipper self. But, you know, they were quite close, Murdoch and Freed. So I expected a little bit more there. And it'll be interesting to see how Ludlow is, how he's faring with the whole situation. But I think when this crew reunites, it will be one of the best scenes in the Pokemon anime. And I can't wait. And I really hope Freed is alive. That could be Copium. I don't know. We'll see. But this episode basically ends with the explorers showing up. They are here to collect the order for the Strong Spheres. And Liko and Roy are like, hold up a minute. These things are what are causing all the Requiem rampages across the world. And then Kana has a good role in this episode. I really like seeing her again. We did see that Pokeball as well hinted. Hopefully that gets used next episode maybe. But she was basically like, nah, you ain't having them if you're using them for evil. I want to create Pokeballs that are beautiful and bring joy to people. And obviously these things ain't doing it. So she refuses, and it becomes a battle with Liko and Roy and the Paldean Tauros, and then it's to be continued. So this will go on into next week, and I can't wait. But that's it for this one. Hopefully I'll be back next week. I have no idea. I haven't really been making many videos lately, but this episode was just too good not to talk about. So hopefully next week will be good as well, and then I'll want to make another video. But that's it for now. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.